So, here we are. This is the TREK ROSCOE 7 mountain bike, and in this episode I will give you the buyer's guide for this bike, and I will also tell you, should you just go ahead and buy it, or should you just consider this mountain bike. So hello friends, and welcome to another episode of Cycling Insider. Before we start, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe because it's gonna help in growing the channel, and of course if you are already a subscriber, then I say thank you. So as I was speaking, TREK ROSCOE 7 hardtail mountain bike, which currently has an amazing price in my opinion of $1,400 hard-earned US dollars. And also what's nice to see here is that when you look at the paint schemes on this bike, TREK is offering 6 paint schemes. So starting with the matte black paint scheme, totally blacked out model, then you have this blue, dark aquatic blue, like a deep blue, then you have this kind of satin black with olive, then you have also this beautiful bronze paint scheme, and my two favorite ones, which is this kind of metallic green, Miami green as they call it, and this beautiful teal paint scheme with the hints of orange. And also when you look at the sizes that are available, a lot of the sizes are available in different paint schemes, so definitely this is one of those moments where TREK is offering a very good discount on this bike. Originally it was $1,900 US dollars, now $1,400 US dollars, so a very nice discount and a very attractive price point. So okay, now we can answer the question, who is this bike for? So you see, TREK ROSCOE lineup is a hardtail mountain bike primarily designed for like a trail mountain biking. So you are going off-road with this bike, it's some kind of, harder, tougher trails that you like riding. Absolutely, with this level of the mountain bike you'll have no problems in riding these a bit more demanding trails. And you will also see when we look at the specifications of the bike and the fork on the bike, how everything is designed for this kind of proper trail riding. When I say a hardtail mountain bike, of course you only have the front suspension on this bike, not the rear suspension, which is perfectly fine because the maintenance of this bike is going to be much cheaper than if you are running a full suspension mountain bike. And still, in my opinion, for the majority of the people out there, hardtail mountain bike is more than enough for any, trail riding. I would say only if you are very serious in racing and competing, then okay, then you have to consider a full suspension cross-country mountain bike, or you are doing some heavy-duty, downhill riding, then okay, then the full suspension is the way to go. In all other cases, hardtail mountain bike, very nice classic tool for the job. Okay, now we can dive into the specifications and really see what are you going to get for your hard-earned money. And we can kick off with the frame and the fork on this bike. So this frame is the TREK's Alpha Gold aluminum frame. This frame comes with the threaded bottom bracket. It also comes with the excellent through axles, so 12mm through axle at the back and 15mm through axle at the front. And also this aluminum frame is totally fine for a mountain biking because if you are a bit afraid that your carbon fiber frame can get shattered easily, and then definitely these aluminum frames are perfectly fine. Of course, with the carbon fiber frame you can tune up the compliance a bit better than of course on the aluminum frames, but with the aluminum frames you have this extra protection of properly being strong and rugged for off-road riding. Also, I have to mention here that when you look at the internally routed cables, they are nicely routed here through the down tube. Nothing is going to the head tube, so it's going to be much easier to service this bike. And when you look at the handlebar and the stem on this bike, it's a classical aluminum piece from Bontrager, so nothing is proprietary here. Very easy to replace this handlebar and the stem or adjust your position. So this is all, perfectly fine. Now when you look at the fork on this bike, so what are you getting in this instance? So this fork is the RockShox Recon Silver RL fork, which if you would buy it on the open market, the price can vary between $268 US all the way to $376 US. depending on the different, models of the fork they have. But generally speaking, some of the highlights of this fork include that in this instance, for the TREK ROSCOE 7, the fork is adjusted for the 140 millimeters of travel in the majority of the sizes. Only if you choose the extra small size, then is the 120 millimeters of travel. This fork has the motion control damper from RockShox. Also, you will have a lockout on this fork on your handlebar, so you can run it fully open or fully locked out. Also, the fork will have a rebound adjustment of one of the legs of the fork, and of course this is the air spring fork, so you can adjust the pressures in this fork. The legs of the fork are 32 millimeters straight wall steel legs, and on this fork the maximum rotor sizes for the braking discs you can run is 220 millimeters. So all in all, I think it's an excellent offering from RockShox, this RockShox Recon Silver RL fork, and as I say, in this instance 140 millimeters of travel, so definitely designed for those hard off-roading and trail riding. And the 15 millimeters through axle, of course, and the fork will give you enough, stiffness. So all in, considering the frame and the fork, absolutely perfectly fine. There's no complaints here in my opinion. Now let's talk about the wheel set on this bike. So what will you get in this instance? So the wheel set is a combination of Bontrager TLR 30 rims, which are classical aluminum rims. They are tubeless ready, and they are paired with the Shimano TC500 hubs, front and back hubs. So these are the classical Shimano hubs with the cap and cone, easily to service, and definitely, out of the box, perfectly fine, no special complaints here. And I will just mention here that I'm so glad that this wheel set is going to be set up tubeless ready out of the box, and the tires on this wheel set are the new Bontrager Gunnison Pro XR tire. In this instance, it is a 29-inch tire by 2.6 inches. So you see, this 2.6 inches is a huge air volume in this tire. Very nice. You run it tubeless, you run it on low pressures, so it's a definitely very, very good tires and a good width of the tire for some kind of hardcore, trail riding. So this is all well and good. And I will just mention here that once when you, let's say, destroy this wheel set or you destroy these hubs, it is always worth checking if you are upgrading a wheel set, what can you get from DT Swiss. So have a look at DT Swiss wheels, some of their aluminum wheels for the mountain biking, because they make excellent wheels with their, DT Swiss 350 hubs, DT Swiss 240 hubs. It's an absolute, stunning wheel set for a very good price, in my opinion. Also, I have to mention here that the drivetrain on this bike is the Shimano Dior drivetrain. So you have a single shifter at the front. There is no front mech on this bike, and the rear mech is also the Shimano Dior. So this is the Shimano Dior M6100 12-speed group set. Absolutely fine, a proper workhorse from Shimano. There's no complaints here from me. And also, as I see here, there's no cutting corners with the cassette, because the cassette is also Shimano Dior, huge cassette 1051, and the chain Shimano Dior 12-speed chain. Just a little tip here: in the future, when you destroy this chain, always buy something, I would advise you, from Shimano that's a 12-speed compatible chain. So it can be a Shimano Dior, it can be, for example, a Shimano SLX, or even you can go to Shimano XT chains. I forgot to mention here that the crankset on this bike is a Shimano MT511 crankset, single chainring at the front, and this chainring is a 30-tooth chainring, a classical steel chainring. And I will just mention here that probably for majority of the riders, this 30-tooth chainring is going to be a bit too small. So if you are upgrading, you can upgrade to a 32-tooth chainring, or even 34 chainring. And the 34 chainring is, by the way, the maximum chainring you can fit on this bike. So all in all, perfectly fine, drivetrain, no special complaints from me here. And the bottom bracket is a threaded bottom bracket from Shimano, Shimano's BB52 73 millimeters threaded bottom bracket, which is going to be, again, easy to service and pretty reliable in my opinion. Now let's talk about some of the smaller components like the saddle and the seat post. So the saddle is from Bontrager, so this is the Bontrager Verse saddle. Since saddles are always a personal preference, you might decide that you don't like this saddle and you will just replace it with your preferred saddle. Totally fine, easy to do it. And with the seat post on this bike, this is very nice. TREK has included a dropper seat post. So this dropper seat post, depending on the size of the frame, can go from 100 millimeters of travel all the way to 150 millimeters of travel. And this a Trans X proper dropper seat post is very useful because anytime when you are going downhill you can drop the seat post and definitely be much more stable on the bike. And then again, when you start climbing, you just pop it up and you have much more better power transfer with this dropper seat post. I was mentioning already handlebar and the stem, classical aluminum pieces from Bontrager, nothing proprietary here, easy to adjust your position, easy to replace in the future. And also one tip here, I see that the handlebars for the majority of the sizes are 780 millimeters wide. This might be a bit too wide for the majority of the riders, so maybe in the future you would decide to cut these handlebars, maybe 10-20 millimeters on each side, just to get them a bit narrower, if that's something that you really like. Braking system on the bike, Shimano's hydraulic disc brakes, very basic ones in this instance, MT200 hydraulic disc brakes, with the very basic Shimano RT10 braking rotors. These braking rotors are 180 millimeters front, and I'm guessing 160 millimeters at the back. I don't believe that both of them are 180, but something you can double check with your local TREK bike dealer. So the braking system definitely could get some upgrades in the future. If you feel that you are overcooking these brakes on some longer downhills, or maybe the heat dissipation is not good, then definitely I can advise you to upgrade to, for example, Shimano Dior level hydraulic disc brakes with the Shimano Dior braking rotors, or even the Shimano SLX or XT braking rotors. And I'm also glad here that TREK is giving the total bike weight in the size medium. It is approximately 14 kilograms or 30.76 pounds. So definitely not one of the lightest hardtail cross-country mountain bikes, but this bike is definitely designed for the proper trail riding with the aluminum frame, and that's why the weight of the bike is approximately 14 kilograms for a size medium. So, in a summary, when I consider that this TREK ROSCOE 7 is currently retailing for $1,400, what is my advice to you? Well, I would put it like this. If you are really looking for a proper, a trail mountain bike, which is, in my opinion, a good value for money, then definitely I can recommend you to go ahead and buy this TREK ROSCOE 7, currently at $1,400, because I think it's a very attractive price point from TREK, and specifically all the components of this bike are very good in this price range of $1,400. So this is gonna be it for today. I hope you like what I'm doing. If you do, keep on watching, keep on liking, and as always, I will see you soon in the next episode. Cheers!